Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Julie Nelson.
And I'm Rena Sargentopoulos. We begin tonight with the Minnesota Supreme Court's ruling today that USA Powerlifting violated a transgender athlete's human rights.
The ruling comes in the case of J.C. Cooper, a transgender athlete who wanted to compete in the women's powerlifting division. In its decision, the justices called USA Powerlifting's policy discriminatory on its face under the state's Human Rights Act. The ruling comes just weeks after the Trump administration said Minnesota is violating Title IX by allowing transgender athletes to compete in girls' sports at the high school level.
But there is a lot more to today's ruling. Morgan Wolf spoke with both Gender Justice, who represented Cooper, and USA Powerlifting. She joins us now to break down today's ruling. Morgan?
Yeah, Julie and Rena, this case, it all began in 2019, and it is being described as a clear win for Cooper. But USA Powerlifting says they are not done yet.
6 years later, a decision long awaited in J.C. Cooper's lawsuit against USA Powerlifting for discrimination.
And that is a huge victory. We are so proud.
The Minnesota State Supreme Court's ruling says USA Powerlifting violated the Minnesota Human Rights Act by discriminating against Cooper in public accommodation, meaning the sport. USA Powerlifting argues their ban on transgender women competing in the women's category ensures fairness.
Someone who was born biologically male and has gone through puberty as a male has inherent strength advantages over somebody who was born biologically female and went through puberty as a female.
The organization says that they want to be inclusive. That's why they created their own competitions for transgender athletes and non-binary individuals. The state Supreme Court did not rule on whether USA Powerlifting had legitimate business reasons to ban Cooper from competing as a woman, sending that claim back to the lower courts, and USA Powerlifting intends to pursue that route next.
It really does seem to be going in the exact opposite direction of where federal law is going on this question, which is that transgender girls and transgender women should not be competing in women's division.
The U.S. Supreme Court took on 2 cases this year around bans on transgender athletes participating in women's and girls' sports. Gender Justice says a SCOTUS ruling on those cases couldn't undo the state Supreme Court's ruling, and they believe the Minnesota decision could have impacts beyond our borders.
I think other state courts around the country who have similar protections to ours will look at this for guidance.
Politicians are weighing in on this decision. Republican State Representative Kristen Robbins says, quote, today, the Minnesota Supreme Court allowed Tim Walz and Keith Ellison's war against women to continue. She goes on to say, quote, the court's decision penalizes USA Powerlifting for its decision to prohibit biological men from competing against women. The Minnesota Senate Queer Caucus released a statement calling the decision a historic victory, saying in part, quote, this landmark decision reflects the values Minnesotans share, where everyone can compete and thrive without fear of discrimination.
Morgan, did USA Powerlifting say if they had a timeline on when they were going to take this back to the lower court?
Yes, they said it could be weeks to months. It's all really going to decide on their judge assignment, and so this is something that we're going to continue to follow.
All right, thank you.